In the realm of death and blood that is the entity's realm, some survivors and killers are above the average. You hardly see them, but when you do, it could be either a blessing for you or a curse. These are the legends of Dead by Daylight. Carlos Oliveira, U.B.C.S. Mercenary. While the nation of Oliveira's origin has not been established, what is known is that it was undergoing fierce paramilitary and street violence from the 1970s to 1990s. Oliveira grew up in a large mestizos household as the fifth of 7 brothers. By his birth around 1977, the oldest 2 had already been killed in fighting between 2 street gangs. Around 1982, Oliveira's house was raided by a rival street gang who shot his brother Tonio as retribution for his slaying by his older brother Pietro. Oliveira first became involved in gang violence around 1984 at the age of 7, when he was able to handle a shotgun which he used for committing robberies. Around 1987, he was captured by a nationalist paramilitary group while trespassing on a farm intent to loot it. His life was saved by a communist group backed by Cuba or the Soviet Union and welcomed him into their front. By the 1990s, however, the conflict was waning as the government was more capable in asserting itself. The Communist Front was wiped out in an anti-guerrilla operation, and Oliveira himself was captured. During the 1990s, the Umbrella Corporation was expanding its paramilitary forces to contain the threat their bioweapons posed. Led by Colonel Sergei Vladimir, it was to compromise those with military and paramilitary training, unwanted by their home nations. Whether they were criminals or had been demobilized and saw no place in civilian life, Oliveira captured piqued Umbrella's interests, and the government was bribed to secure his release as a U.B.C.S. mercenary. Oliveira went on to serve as a corporal and was adaptable and could perform various duties with his team. In addition to his responsibilities with heavy weapon support and vehicle driving maintenance, Oliveira had either already or by the end of his training gained skills in piloting helicopters and seizing a general aviation aircraft. On 15 September, the U.B.C.S. was mobilized to prepare for a large-scale operation in Raccoon City, which was undergoing a T-virus outbreak. 4 platoons measuring at approximately 120 men, among which Oliveira was included, would arrive on 26 September, by which point the outbreak had spread out of control due to drinking water contamination. It is uncertain how much he knew about the real purpose behind the operation in the city, but it is indicated that Oliveira believed that U.B.C.S. was prioritizing the rescue of civilians. Because the severity of the outbreak in the city was greater than expected, many mercenaries were killed or mutated in the opening hours, although Oliveira managed to survive in a scattered team led by Delta Platoon co-captain Nikolai Victor. They made their base of operations on a subway train. Both agreed that their intent was to make the vehicle operational again to facilitate any evacuation from the city. During this period, another report indicated that Oliveira, working with Victor's squad, managed to rescue some of Raccoon City citizens and kept them safe while trying to figure out how to fix the rail vehicle. On the night of 28 September, Oliveira met the former STARS officer Jill Valentine, who was on the run from the BOW Nemesis T-Type. Oliveira met Valentine shortly after she fell with Nemesis from the top of a garage building, where he helped to incapacitate the BOW so he could rescue her. Oliveira ended up taking Valentine to where the U.B.C.S. was operating and tentatively recruited her to their team for mutual assistance. Over the course of repairing the rail transport they were hiding in, Oliveira worked with Valentine and Sergeant Nikolai Zinoviev as Captain Victor was too wounded to help. Oliveira instructed Valentine via radio to turn on the tram's power while she lured Nemesis away from the subway. He then would help Valentine incapacitate the creature again before they returned to the evacuation point. Upon returning while the tram left with the survivors, Valentine, Victor, and Zinoviev, Oliveira and Bravo Platoon Monitor Tyrell Patrick were given orders to stay behind. They were to search for Dr. Nathaniel Bard, an umbrella biologist who was leading their vaccine research effort within the city in the Raccoon police station. However, upon arriving at the police station in the early dawn of 29 September, The investigation turned up blank when it was found he was at the Spencer's Memorial Hospital instead. During this time, Oliveira was contacted by Valentine, who informed him about the evacuation's failure due to an ambush from Nemesis and Zenobio's betrayal. This prompted him to leave the building immediately to meet with Valentine. As Carlos went to meet up with Jill, a dark, ominous fog was impeding his vision and he continued to run headfast deeper into it. And when he got out, he noticed that he wasn't in Raccoon City anymore. Something very much different. Carlos soon hears screams coming from afar as he hears the familiar voice of the monster he and Jill had been facing. Without his gun, he couldn't fight back in a traditional sense. But Carlos had his ways.
It's alright, you're going ahead. It's alright, I'm not gonna die on you. Leave you in a cold, cruel Carlos's world.